Hi guys, it's Ankita. Welcome to Enchanted Bookends. In this video, I'm going to talk about The House in the Cerulean Sea by TJ Klune. Before I start talking about this book, I do want to thank you for being here. If you haven't already subscribed, please subscribe to my channel. So in this book, we follow a 40-year-old man named Linus Baker. Linus Baker works for the government. He specifically works for the department in charge of magical youth. So in this world, there are children who have magical abilities, and these children are put into orphanages, mainly because in general the public is very wary of these children. They don't know what these children are capable of. They are basically afraid of these children. So these orphanages, though they're called orphanages, are basically prisons for these children, because everyone knows that nobody's gonna eventually adopt these children. So Linus's job is to go to these orphanages and make an observe how things are going, what sort of abilities do these children have, do they pose any danger to anyone around them. And so what Linus does at the end of his visit to these orphanages is he makes a report and submits the report to his supervisors, and then the supervisors review, and sometimes these orphanages are closed based on what the report says. And so that basically is Linus's job, and he's very good at his job. He's thorough in his reports. He follows this book of rules and regulations that he's provided by this department that he works for, and he follows it to a T. So it's very straight-laced. And that is what Linus's life is all about, is work. He basically doesn't have a social life at all. He has a cat who doesn't like him. He has a neighbor who's pretty nasty to him. And so that is Linus's life. And because he's very good at his job, his new assignment is to go to this one island where there's an orphanage and to do his job, and he is requested to make a thorough report. Now, he doesn't know much about the children that live in this orphanage that he has been assigned to, but he is given like a short report on each of the children, and one of these children is the child of the Antichrist. And when Linus sees that, he is utterly scared. Like he has to now live in an orphanage for 1 month with the child of the Antichrist. And so Linus Baker very nervously goes to this island, and that is where most of the fun begins in this book, because I think the dialogue between children and the adults, especially between the children and Linus, is absolutely hilarious. There's so many times I chuckled. Each of these children, they have magical abilities, they're magical beings. One of them is a gnome. She's a lady gnome, a girl gnome, but she has a beard, and her name is Talia, and she was my favorite character in this. Obviously, I love all the other children as well. And Lucifer is the child of the Antichrist, and he is lovingly called as Lucy. But yeah, it is such a nice cozy read. I believe after halfway through the book, it does get a little preachy, as in not like preachy in the sense that there are long paragraphs on moral teachings, but it definitely sounds a little bit too curated. I don't think people talk in the way some of the adults talk in this, so it is a little bit preachy at times. But overall, I liked the book. I loved the concept of how like living amongst these kids for 1 month changes Linus's perspective. And so it's all about Linus's personal change, but also it's also about the children, and the book is teaching us about acceptance and how you shouldn't judge a book by its cover. So in that sense, it was absolutely satisfying to read this book. There's a lot of things that you can get from this book, but mostly I just love the coziness of it, and I love the character of Linus Baker and the children. everything is done really well. It's not too long. It's only it's actually 400 pages, and I didn't even realize it was 400 pages. So it's that good. It doesn't really seem like a very long book, but I did take my time with this. I didn't want it to finish, and I wanted more of the children. I know there's a second book in the series. Now, I don't know if the children feature in that book, but if they do, then I would love to read that one too. If the children are not in the book, then I am not very inclined on reading the second book. One more thing that I think is important to mention, which the publisher doesn't in this book, and that is that the author got the inspiration for writing this book from the 60s scoop, which is what happened. I don't know if it happened in the US or not, but it happened in Canada, where these children of the First Nations people were taken from their homes and put into these residential schools, and they were abused there. Life there was just, the living conditions were not good. It was just the whole thing of just of separating them from their families at such a young age has left like a traumatic impact, has traumatized the community. And it is important to acknowledge that the author got inspiration to write this book based on that, even though the publishers didn't mention that here. Neither is it in acknowledgements, and I think that's something that is important to acknowledge, especially in Canada. Whenever we have any public presentations, we have any public events, we do acknowledge that the land belongs to the First Nation people, and we are just here on their land. So that acknowledgement is very important to Canadians. It should be important to everyone in the world to acknowledge what I would call crimes against First Nations people. Yeah, it is surprising to me that the publishers didn't feel it was important to include that. And I will leave you with that thought. And that's all I have to say about this book. If you have made it so far in the video, make sure to add either an emoji or feel free to share your thoughts. I always love reading comments. And yeah, thank you so much for watching this video. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel, like this video, and I'll see you next time. Until then, take care. Bye-bye.